Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. My name is Ty, and this is Reality Table Talk. I'm here to share my thoughts and opinions on the latest episodes of the reality shows we all love to watch. Now, my thoughts are my thoughts, and the reviews I share are from my perspective. But I can guarantee that more than one of us is probably thinking the same thing and sharing the same perspective. Now, I'd like to engage with each and every one of you, so please don't forget to comment below. And if you dig this video, like, share, and subscribe. And with that said, pull up a seat, join me at the table, and let's get into this review. So, y'all, before I get into this review, I just want to start by saying how happy and excited I am to share this channel with you all. A few years ago, I had the idea to start a podcast, and my sister friend that I've known since the age of 14 was going to do it with me. So we got the equipment and we came up with concepts for how we wanted the show to go. But life got to lifing and things just weren't really working out to where we were able to get the podcast going at that time. I ended up moving out of state, and while I was away, my sis fell ill. A couple of months after I moved back home, she ended up passing away. So we never really got the chance to revisit starting the podcast, but I never let go of my desire to create. And for the past several years, it's been on my spirit to do something for myself. And I really needed a channel to release my creativity. So, y'all, here I am. I am stepping out on faith and I'm doing this. And I want to dedicate this channel to the memory of my sis, my dear, dear friend, my chosen family. I love, love, love you. And we are doing this together. I also want to thank everybody who supported me in starting this channel and the vision that I have for it. And I want to thank all of you for supporting me by watching my videos. I am grateful for each and every single view. So with that said, y'all, let's go ahead and jump into this review for The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 1. All right, y'all. I am so excited for this season of Real Housewives of Atlanta for two reasons. Number one, the last season, season 15, aired in 2023, and I believe the premiere episode for that season was in May of 2023. So it's been about 2 years since the last season, and I was missing the show. I definitely felt its absence in the Bravo lineup because I feel like Bravo's been struggling with all of the cast across all of the cities for the Real Housewife franchises. And that could just be that the cast have been on the shows for so long. It's just they just need some new life. They just need some freshening up. So last season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, y'all, it was so boring. When I tell you I fell asleep so many times just trying to get through an episode, I mean, it was a snooze fest. Season 15 was the lowest rated season in the history of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, so Bravo decided it was time to shake things up a bit with the cast in hopes that it would produce a better show and bring in higher ratings. Now, I'm hoping the cast shakeup works because as a viewer, I think we as an audience deserve better than what we got last season. So that brings me to the second reason I'm excited for this season of The Housewives. Just about everybody from season 15 is gone. Candy Burris and her man Todd, gone. Monty Marlo Hampton, gone. Sanya Richards Ross and her husband Aaron, gone. She by Sheree Whitfield and all of her September, spring, summer fashions, gone. Kenya Moore, aka Twirl, and her Kenya Moore Hair Care Marching Band. Well, I'll get back to her in a minute. Who we do have returning from season 15 is Drew Sidora. And Lord, I don't even know how that happened because I just hope she's bringing something new this season. Like some truth, some honesty, some realness. That storyline she has going on with her husband, aka roommate Ralph, that infidelity, separating, getting a divorce, then staying together and trying to work things out. I mean, that storyline that they're peddling is tired. They've been doing that for the last 2 years, basically as long as she's been on the show, and I am over it. It's giving me Ashley and Michael Darby from Real Housewives of Potomac, and girl, just no. We also have new cast members Brittany Eady, Kelly Farrell, and Angela Oakley joining the show, along with Real Housewives of Atlanta OG, Cynthia, what else is going on? Bailey. She's returning to the franchise as a friend of the show. And Twirl, aka Kenya, whom after being a part of a scandal involving some explicit photos of newcomer Britt Eady, she's been reduced to a supporting role. So Kenya's not even a friend this season. She was suspended from the show mid-season and was replaced by another OG, Miss Phaedra Parks. Yes, y'all, Bravo went and plucked Phaedra right on about of Married to Medicine and brought her right on back home to the Housewives. But after watching this last season of Married to Medicine, I think that was a good idea. I don't think Phaedra meshed too well with all of the ladies on the cast of Married to Medicine. So, yes, Phaedra, come on back home to the Housewives. I missed you. And while I know that may be an unpopular opinion, I don't care. I like Phaedra on this show. Didn't really care too much for her on Married to Medicine, but I definitely like her on The Housewives. So I'm anxious to see what she's going to bring in the short time that she's on the show. Former friend of the show, Shamia Morton, is now an official peach holder this season. Hey, Shamia, I see you, girl. And in the words of Lizzo, it's about damn time. We were originally introduced to Shamia through her bestie, Portia Williams, on the show, who is also back this season after a 3-year hiatus. Welcome back, Portia. I missed you too, girl. And I miss Frickin' Frack. And I hope we get a little bit of Frickin' Frack with you and Phaedra this season. I really enjoyed Portia on the show in past years, and I'm happy to see her back. But after seeing her mean girl side come out a little bit on the Ultimate Girls Trip, I just really hope to see some growth from her and not see that mean girl side, because that to me, it's unbecoming of Portia. It doesn't suit her. It doesn't fit her. And I believe we shall see some growth from her. Hearing what she's been going through with her estranged husband of 15 months, Simon Guobadia, I'm anxious to see how it plays out on the show. From what I understand, the divorce has not been finalized, so it's still in process. And Lord, between money and citizenship and lies and ICE, things had gotten a little messy between Simon and Portia. So we'll see how this plays out on the show, I'm sure, especially when it comes to Portia being able to film in the home that they both share or did share until last week or week before last. If y'all have been watching the blogs, then y'all know what I'm saying. So in the opening scene this season, we see Shamia getting home from work. And it's Mother's Day, but it's also her birthday. So she opens the door to Sterling Hall, her home, y'all. Now, unlike Lake Bailey and Moore Manor, Shamia's mansion is definitely worthy of actually having a title like that, because Cynthia and Kenya could have just stuck to calling their homes the house. Like, Cynthia, hey, what you doing, girl? Chilling at the house, friend. It's giving that kind of energy compared to Shamia's estate. So we learned that Sterling Hall sold for $9 million, and it was the second highest selling home in Georgia the year that it sold. And it looks like every bit of $9 million. So Shamia greets her oldest daughter, Shia, who's 5. She's so beautiful in her pink tutu. And Shamia looks like she's had a long day at work, but I don't know what job she did this day because we find out that she is a jack of all trades. She's dubbed herself a quadruple threat. So she is a singer, she is a dancer, she is an actress, and she is a host. She is a mother, she is a daughter, she is a sister, and she is an aunt. She's a wife and she's all the things, child. She is every woman and it is all in her. Shout out to Whitney. In the kitchen, we see her mom, her dad, her sister, and her oldest nephew. And they're all just sitting around chatting, just chilling, I guess, waiting for Mother's Day activities to begin. Shamia and Shia decide to race upstairs. So Shia runs up the stairs, up the literal stairs. Shamia runs into her elevator. So, of course, Shia beats her upstairs, and Shamia goes to check on her youngest daughter, 15-month-old Shiloh. Now, Shiloh has been battling some health issues. She was born premature through surrogacy, and so she's got round the clock care from her nurse. And Shamia says that she did not celebrate Mother's Day last year. Shiloh was still in the NICU. So this baby has come a long way, and she looks like such a sweet baby, y'all. So Shamia changes out of her work clothes. She goes to sit back downstairs with her family, and they start talking about Mother's Day. And then we see her in her interview scene. And in this scene, we learn how her and her husband Gerald came to be. They met in the club. He offered her some drinks. She accepted. He walked away, and then she didn't see him for the rest of the night. Shamia thinks he could be a catch. So her homegirl says, hey, he's having a cookout. Come over to the house, hang out, get to meet him. And she's like, what? I don't know this man. Why am I going to his house? I don't know him. So the friend is like, well, meet his kids. So she decides to go, and she learns he doesn't have any kids. So that was it for Shamia. She and Gerald talk all night. The friend leaves her there. She's like, how am I going to get home? Gerald says, you can sleep here. Shamia's like, no, you're going to try to have sex with me. And so she goes ahead and she stays there. And I guess at 4 a.m. in the morning, she got the bubble guts. So she blew this man's bathroom up. She leaves and goes home. But he called her, y'all, and he asked her out on a date. They have been together ever since. I guess it was love at first dump. Now, while Shamia is telling us how she met her husband, production is in the background asking her to shorten it up. And I cackled so loud. Shamia is long-winded. But I thought it was good to hear her speak because in the seasons past, when she's just been on as Portia's friend or Candy's friend, we didn't really get to hear her say a whole lot. So this is refreshing to me. I'm glad that we're getting to learn more about Shamia, her family, and just learn more about her and see her personality really come through. I think she is going to be a great asset as a peach holder this season. We learn how Shamia's friendships developed with the other ladies on the cast. Shamia is originally from ATL, grew up there, and has known Portia for decades. Through Portia, she met Cynthia and Kenya. Kelly, she met through a radio show gig, and Kelly stepped in to help out when her daughter Shiloh was in the NICU. And through Kelly, she met Britt. She met Drew through doing the TLC biopic, and through Drew, she met Angela. We know how the friendship groups on these shows tend to fall apart, some immediately, some after a little bit of time. So Shamia says that she is the glue that holds her friendship groups together. Well, we'll see how that plays out. In this next scene, it appears that Drew may be up to her old shenanigans. We see Drew Sidora playing in her yard with her kids. Twirl stops by with Brooklyn. Everybody goes inside and the kids go to play. Kenya and Drew sit down and talk about Drew's divorce and how things are going. Drew says that Ralph filed a court order, so now he's pretty much banished down to the basement. Any communication having to do with the kids all has to be done through an app so that there's some kind of record in case they have to go to court. And that's pretty much that. All of that talk about Ralph and Drew trying to possibly work it out during the last reunion all went out the door, but it seemed like that was pretty much inevitable when Drew sang that song to him. Drew says she's still been doing music and working on movies. Kenya says that she's still doing her thing, working, and she's been traveling around. Drew mentions that she's been working with Dennis, the hot dog man, on her music. Now, Dennis is the father of Portia's daughter, Pilar. Dennis and Portia were engaged at one point, but it didn't work out. But that relationship was a substantial relationship. They have a daughter together. Now, Dennis has a restaurant that sells hot dogs. I'm sure they sell other things, but they're known for hot dogs. So, Dennis, the hot dog man, working with Drew on her music is one thing, but Drew and Portia are supposed to be friends, and the streets have been talking about how close Drew and Dennis have become. So, there are rumors swirling that Dennis and Drew may be getting it in, but child, all of that is crazy. Next, we're introduced to Kelly. Kelly's walking into a restaurant. It's one of her daughter's birthdays, and she's there with all of her family to celebrate. Kelly has 4 children, all girls, with the 2 youngest being identical twins, and they are all just so beautiful. I love the babies, y'all. Britt is from Baltimore, moved to Atlanta in 2003, and opened up her restaurant Nana's in 2015, named after her grandmother. She is also in the middle of a divorce from her husband, Marcus. They were married for 11 years, been going through the divorce for 2.5 years, and Kelly says that the divorce should be final in about 2 months. New cast member Britt enters the scene. She and Kelly are friends, so they hug it up like they haven't seen each other in years, and they seem to be all smiles. Kelly gives Britt the rundown about what's going on with the divorce with Marcus. She says that the past couple of months have been really hard and the police have been called out, so she's just really been going through it. So moving forward with the divorce is the right move. This next scene opens up with the Portia Williams. She and all that ass she's toting certainly do know how to make an entrance. We see her trying to walk through the elevator, but she's using her ass to hold the door open. Go ahead, Portia. Sashay it on through, girl. She's here to talk about this divorce from Simon. And y'all, these attorneys are the same attorneys that she used in her divorce from Cordell years ago. Now, this time she says that she's smartened up. She did get a prenup to protect her assets and to protect her daughter, Pilar. And I applaud her for that because too many of us get a little naive when it comes to marriage. And when it comes time to divorce, things, they get ugly. Now, Portia's crying and the tears are flowing. And she talks about just really how she wanted to be a wife and she did everything that she could to show Simon that she was there for him as his wife. But there were definitely some red flags. Having to stand in the secondary line at the airport, allegations of a fake green card and scamming. It just seems like there was a lot she didn't really know about Simon. But child, she done effed around and found out. They share 50-50 ownership in the home they reside in. Simon does not want Portia to film in that home whatsoever and got a cease and desist to prevent her from filming there. She's tried to reach out to him directly, but he wants no communication with her whatsoever. And I can tell that she feels very misled and she is still very, very much hurt. All right, so now it's nighttime, y'all. Shamia meets up with Britt and Kelly for drinks, and the titties are tittying. I mean, the cleavage is just spilling out from everywhere, up, under, up, over, around, down south. There's titties just all over the place. Titty, titty, titty. And we learn how Kelly and Britt met. They were out one night, and the titties were tittying once again, so they were on nipple watch for one another. So they get into talking about Shamia's birthday and her upcoming party, and they want to know who all's going to be there. And Shamia tells them she invited her bestie, Portia, of course, along with some of the other girls from the cast. Well, that just opened a whole can of worms. Kelly starts questioning how Portia and Simon met, and Shamia is giving Kelly the side eye, the hard side eye. Now, if y'all didn't know, a few seasons ago, we were introduced to Simon through his ex-wife, Fallon. She was introduced to us through Portia, and she was supposed to be brought on as Portia's friend. Now, that storyline all blew up, and that turned out not to be true, but that did not keep the streets from talking. So, word on the curb was Portia stole Simon from Fallon. And it seems like no matter what Portia says or does, people are just wanting to believe this story, so they're just running with it. In this moment, I thought, wow, Shamia is a damn good friend. She had Portia's back. And she's like, look, that's not true. That didn't happen. And I really want you to take your time and get to know Portia because she's really not that girl. Portia's not there, and even though Shamia is friends with both Britt and Kelly, she's not gonna let them talk bad about Portia, just like I'm sure if neither one of them were there, she wouldn't let Portia speak badly about them. So that is definitely the type of friend that I like to have around me. And I've got a couple of them. Very, very lucky and very, very fortunate because those type of women, those type of friends do not come around every day. But when you got a girlfriend like that, you hold on to them tight. So after Shamia kind of set the girls straight, they switched topics and started talking about Drew and Dennis. And good Lord, 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 the tea just started spilling all over the table, all over the floor, all over the counters. The tea was all over the place. So allegedly, Dennis was in Kelly's DM, and then back in the day, Dennis went on a date with Britt and gifted her a diamond necklace. Who gives a diamond necklace as a first date gift? I mean, it's giving a little desperate, don't you think? And now with all the rumors flying about Drew and Dennis, they're questioning whether or not Drew and Dennis are actually dating. Lord, this is crazy. So this next scene takes place at the strip club. We see Shamia and Portia meeting up for drinks. Portia orders her usual, Henny and Coke, and the dollar bills get to flying all over strippers' asses. Shamia reveals that Simon sent her a text congratulating her for finally earning her peach on the show. She replied back, "Thank you, brother, I appreciate it." And Portia is feeling some type of way. Portia's like, number one, that's not your brother. Number two, I can't get a hold of him for anything. He's refusing to speak to me, but he can send you a text. So I would really appreciate if you just didn't communicate with him whatsoever. Shamia's thinking, Laura, why did I even mention it? But since we're here, let me just go ahead and tell you that Kelly believes you stole Simon from Fallon. And I just don't want any BS to happen at my party. And since you're my best friend, I'm letting you know now so nothing jumps off. Portia kind of says that nothing's going to jump off, but kind of not really. She's pretty much just like, well, all right, girl. Well, the party will be interesting. And she leaves it at that. So, ... So, y'all, before we get about this strip club, of course, we have to revisit this rumor about Dennis and Drew. So Shamia asked, did you know that Dennis invited Drew out? And Portia's like, a birthday outing? Shamia just kind of looks crazy. She just kind of looks around. She doesn't say anything. Portia's like, oh, there was another night? Silence was answer enough, and Portia knew everything she needed to know right there in that moment. And it's not like she really cares too much because she and Dennis have been together for a while, but Drew is supposed to be her friend. She's been there for Drew when she's been going through this BS storyline with Ralph, Wreck-It Ralph. And she even brought Drew in to be a model for her hairline, Go Naked Hair. Going back to previous seasons with Drew, I'm gonna say this was more for Drew's benefit than it was for Portia's, but I digress. Well, there's a little bit of foreshadowing happening here for this last setup. It's the day of Shamia's 42nd birthday party. She's at home getting ready. She's with her mom, and you hear thunder in the background. She's singing a beautiful song, trying to coax the rain to go away. And Shamia's voice really, really is beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I don't know if she ever had a record deal, but child, with Candy Burris being her friend, I'm thinking something could have worked out there. Shamia's voice is gorgeous. All the girls are getting ready, getting all dolled up, and Kelly arrives to Sterling Hall first. Now, Shamia asked her to arrive a little bit early just so that they could smooth things over a little bit more before Portia arrives, because she lets Kelly know what was said when they all met up about Simon and Fallon. Kelly shares that she had some infidelity in her marriage with her husband, so any infidelity or any kind of rumors of somebody snatching up somebody else's man is a trigger for her. Shamia says she understands, but she don't want nothing happening at her party, and Kelly assures her that no, there's not going to be any drama. So more and more people arrive to this party, and next we see Miss Cynthia Bailey walk in, and she is amazed. She cannot believe how big and beautiful Shamia's estate is. It's then we find out how Gerald makes his money. And he is an HVAC installer. So he came over to the States and made his money from the ground up, worked hard, and now he's got what he's got, and he's able to share it with his wife and his beautiful children. Angela Oakley walks in with her NBA legend of a husband, Charles Oakley. Cynthia gets to chatting it up with Kelly about her restaurant Nana's and about how they're both Pisces and they both love to take long walks on the beach. Like, what in the world? Okay, y'all. Anywho, Drew arrives, Kenya arrives, everybody's here, everybody's being cordial, making small talk. Kenya, Kelly, and Britt meet. And everything seems cordial at first, but twirl would not be twirl if she wasn't twirling some hate or some shade or something around other than positivity and friendliness. Kenya notices Britt's ring, and Britt explains like, yeah, this is my ring, and we just had our anniversary, me and my husband, he's standing right over there. And Kenya says, with the anniversary of your first ring? I swear, Kenya be asking or be begging to be snatched up. She just got to come across the right person. And I thought at one point that was Portia. I guess it wasn't, but it's soon to come. Shamia finally comes down, and her first outfit for the evening was a blue gown and some kind of ruffly shawl thing. It was all right. I wasn't a fan of it, but the hair and the makeup were on point, and she was looking good. She comes over and says hello to everybody, but one person is missing. Where in the hell is Portia? Shamia's husband, Gerald, comes over and says, hey, honey, I have a surprise for you in the front. Everybody goes out front to see what it is. Sitting out in front of this beautiful estate is a Rolls Royce, y'all. $450,000 vehicle. And it is beautiful, just as beautiful as everything else at that house. Gerald did his big one with that. So now, while Shamia's in the front seat and just taking everything all in, guess who creeps up from the side? Miss Portia Williams. Late. If there's one thing a housewife is going to do is they're going to be late. No matter what's going on, they'll be late to their own funeral. Kelly was like, you are ruining Shamia's moment. Like, get off the scene. And I was thinking the same thing. I understand, Portia, she may not have intended to be late, but if you see something like that going on, just go around to the side and just wait. Just wait. Shamia will greet you when she's done. You had an opportunity to get there and talk and chat it up before all of that. You just wait. And Shamia was not afraid to let her know either. She had her Beyonce moment and was like, to the left, get your laid ass on over to the left. Shamia was not having it. And I don't blame her. It's her day. One thing I do appreciate is the friendship that Shamia and Portia have, because Shamia could have gone left. She could have really shown her ass in that moment, and she didn't. So Shamia and Portia go over to the side. They go to the restroom, and Portia lets her know, I apologize, sis, for being late. You know I would never be late. It was traffic. Oh, I laughed so damn loud. I said, traffic? What the hell? Y'all, that was funny, but I'm not going to dismiss it. My sister lives in Atlanta and she's telling me about the traffic there. So I don't dismiss what Portia is saying. It probably is true, but girl, just bad day. Bad day for that. Everybody's back inside now. Cynthia and Kenya are talking, and Cynthia is telling Kenya that Kelly is upset with Shamia because Shamia told Portia what she said when they met up about Simon and Fallon. And if you don't want anything repeated, just don't say it. Duh. Don't say it. I mean, you are talking to her best friend. You're talking to Portia's best friend. What did you think was going to happen? So Shamia disappears for outfit change number 2 and comes back downstairs in this beautiful gold pant number. I mean, it was just gorgeous. I loved how the top was designed. It was beautiful. And that outfit suited her much better. It fit in all the right places. It accentuated what it needed to accentuate. And again, the hair was on point. The makeup was on point. And in this outfit, baby, can nobody tell Shamia nothing. Shamia gives all the girls a tour of the estate of Sterling Hall, and everybody's jaws were on the floor. I guess the girls weren't really aware of how Shamia was doing it up, but baby, when you have 4 professions, when your husband is a self-made millionaire, you don't have to go around talking about your wealth, talking about your money, talking about your finances or what you have. When people come over, when people see you, they just know. So now Kelly is begging Kenya for a hug because she feels like Kenya hugged everybody else but her. So they hug, I guess, and they get to talking about how Kelly's upset that Shamia told Portia what she said about Simon and Fallon. And right before she gets ready to get into it, I don't know where Portia was at, but she walks in and they all got silent. Portia says hello. Then she introduces herself to Kelly and Britt. And before Portia even got a chance to sit down good, Kelly asked, so what's up with you stealing your friend's man? Portia said, oh, we're opening with the rumor? Try again. We're done talking. Before the whole conversation could die down good, they start talking about Dennis and Drew again, y'all. They talk about a surprise birthday party that Drew had that apparently not too many people got invited to, but Portia says, well, Dennis invited me. And Drew looks surprised as hell. She was like, well, it was a surprise party and I had my assistant get all the names, but he didn't send out the invitations. And that just sounded like a sorry ass excuse, just like the sorry story that Drew has been peddling for the last 2 seasons. Ain't nothing changed with Drew. So that was the end of the episode. I really enjoyed it. I think that this season is really going to keep us entertained. This episode to me is already better than all of last season. So I don't know if that's saying much. I'm hopeful that the season will continue to produce some good episodes and make me keep wanting to watch. But y'all let me know what you think. Thank you all for watching this video. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. It's the easiest way to support the channel. And just know that you are always welcome at my table. Stay safe, be blessed, and tell someone you love them today. Until next time.